I used to like sports. Then they took 'em away. I used to like hanging with my friends. But then they said, remember, social distance. Tom Brady, where'd you go? Bernie Sanders, where'd you go? I even used to like going shopping, taking my martial arts class, hugging. I would ride a subway with no fear. I would go to a house party, like a real one though. Tom Brady, where you been, man? Bernie Sanders, do we have a health plan? Tom Brady, are you coming back? Bernie Sanders, is this a heart attack? No, but while I have your attention, I don't think you should drop out. That Biden guy could get the Roni. Or his dementia can get worse and worse. Wait, if they both get Roni, would it make Tulsi Gabbard the nominee? I used to like porn. But increasingly I'm finding it difficult to distinguish between sex workers and the victim of sex trafficking. And plus, my girlfriend's not really a fan, so. Tom Brady, where'd you go? Bernie Sanders, where'd you go? Weird Celtics Twitter, I miss you. My old life, I miss you. And I spent all day on hold with the unemployment line. We're sorry, your call is important to us, but we are experiencing unusually high volume at this time. I spent all day on hold with the unemployment line. We're sorry, your call is important to us, but we are experiencing unusually high volume at this time.
Let's start over. That was awful.
Cross me up! Don't snap, don't breathe, just to leave me of this skin. And baby begin!
I think we should start off with an apology to everybody for our absence.
That's kind of like that's very on brand for us. Okay, go ahead.
And then we'll tell everybody that we ride again, and we ride again for one reason, and that's because everybody who is able to is sheltering in place, besides like the brave retail workers of the United States of America
And
who are
the delusional baby boomers.
And the delusional baby boomers who we will certainly address. But I think we should have a section in today's podcast about successes and setbacks we've had in trying to talk to our parents about how they should be dealing with this. Because I think everyone who's listening to this is experiencing something similar with their parents. So that would actually be a useful thing in the sports podcast.
Oh, like what's worked and what hasn't, and trying to tell your parents to take this seriously?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're the ones who are at risk, and we are, like, by us all sheltering in place, we're doing that to save them, to save the baby boomers and the silent generation who are at a high risk of death if they catch the Roni. And so it's like this sacrifice that we're all making basically for them. And the parallel between that and global warming, which is like when we're asking baby boomers to make sacrifices for us, for the future, like, because they're not going to be around anyway when the shit really hits the fan for global warming. But we're asking them nonetheless to make some sacrifices for us, and they're completely unwilling to do so.
Brother, stop.
It starts the mind down a a path that it's not pretty. So Max hung up. Are you back?
I think that's a really good point about global warming.
Oh, you're back. I thought you hung up because you were so. The consequences of what I was saying were so mind blowing and dark that you just couldn't handle anymore. It was just technical
I
difficulties.
did hang up.
I know
I
you
did
hung
hang up,
up,
but there were technical difficulties. It's funny. The first time I saw that someone was calling the coronavirus the boomer remover, I laughed. I definitely laughed. And I wonder if your argument, if the logical conclusion to your argument is that it's better praxis to spread this plague so that we take out as many boomers as possible and replace them with us.
It's just interesting,
who
right?
are
Because
climate savvy.
the first option, like the whole idea behind flattening the curve, is that we have to quarantine ourselves for a long ass time, and it will take a lot longer for the virus to pass through. But that's all worth it because less old people will die. Whereas if we just like didn't quarantine at all and we went about like like we kept I would still have my job. I would still be able to like go outside and instead, but there would be lots and lots of deaths of old people, and so that's bad. We don't want that. There's no For me it's fine. I lose my job, I'll figure it out. But because it's worth it to not have our health system fall apart for all the fucking old people. But and I mean, I don't know. Young people can get really sick too, and so it's not just about the old people. But by and large, it is, statistically speaking, at least. But I just like, are they willing? They're not willing to make any changes in their standard of living or the way that they're just so fucking. Ugh. It's stupid to talk about a generation as if it's one person or because it's so different.
Sure. I do think though that I don't know. Our parents are particularly irritating when it comes to this
No,
stuff.
everyone thinks their own parents are particularly irritating. But yes, I think that our parents are particularly irritating too.
Fine, our parents are irritating in their own unique
Sure.
way. I guess is the what is it? Unhappy families are unhappy.
All
in their own.
Yeah, all happy families are it's the unhappy families that are, I don't know, whatever. We read books.
Unhappy in their own way.
It was. I thought the thing. I mean, it's not because the thing that was maybe most effective in trying to get my mom our mom to give up her haircut appointment, not do her haircut, and this is not in the beginning days of it. This is basically yesterday, was saying, look, it's not just even about you. It's about maybe you could get it and pass it to your friend who's more vulnerable than you are, or maybe you get it and you get sick and you need to go to the hospital, but you're not going to die. And instead, though, you do take a ventilator from someone else who's 20 years older than you or 10 years older than you, and they die. They die because you were deemed more worthy of the ventilator than they were. Do you want it's that situation I'm trying to avoid? And then all of a sudden she was just like, okay, I'll cancel my haircut appointment. So I think one of the things that's hard for the boomers is that.
Do you think she also paid Freddie? Her hair. Freddie is our mother's longtime hair stylist.
Yeah, hairstylist. I also said
hair colorist.
Yeah, I mean both. I said maybe this is a.
If you've been wondering how my mom's hair stays purple, it's Mr. Freddie in Kenmore Square.
I told her that this is a quarantine is a great time to let the fucking white come in, because she says theoretically in the abstract sense she's okay with having white hair, but she just doesn't want to go through the process of it going from purple to white. And so I said this is maybe a good.
Oh, beautiful. That would be great.
But then she said oh, you also told me that stress is makes me more vulnerable to the Roni, and so that would stress me out watching my hair be two different colors or something. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I do think that the problem with the boomers is that they don't want to face their own mortality right now in general, at all, and that's one of the reasons that they're having a hard time taking this seriously is because to take this seriously means to acknowledge that they are at a much significantly higher risk of death, and they don't want to think about that. So they're just like acting as if they can't die or nothing bad can happen to them. So it's not actually effective if you're trying to get your parents to take this seriously by telling them that they're like at higher risk to die because they are refusing to look at that fact. And so, but if you the ventilator thing, I mean, it's also just like true. Like that's what's happened. That's what happened in Italy, right? We don't have enough ventilators in this country. This is like by the time this podcast comes out, it's Thursday at noon right now. It'll probably come out tonight or tomorrow because I'm not doing anything. But like by then, like even this ventilator scenario is gonna be like too horrific. It's not gonna age well. The thing that I'm saying right now. Anyway, brother, where are you at?
I mean, this is I want to know about like you don't have a job.
Yeah.
The virus took your job.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And like it's crazy to think about what New York City is going to look like after this. I'm really scared. I'm really scared that all of the small businesses are going to be like unable to stay open because the stimulus packages won't reach them or won't like be able to reverse like the pressures they're under from the New York City rent market, et cetera. And like, it's just going to be a sea of Citibanks and Chipotles, as Kate Bryant might say.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was already trending that way anyway, but yes, I mean, that's true. I think without a rent freeze, I don't understand what stimulus package is going to be like reach all of the people that it would need to be reached in order for this to not irrevocably change New York and like irrevocably change New York from the 2019 version of it, which was already irrevocably changed from the 2009 version in the 1990s. Like, it's like it had already been trending pretty badly, and the real estate developers had already basically like there's this thing in New York where when I moved here, there was like this sense that there was a war going on between the soul of the city, like a war going on for the soul of the city between the real estate developers and everyone else. And then somewhere along the lines in the 10 years that I've lived here, it just like realized that it had actually that war had come and gone and we had lost. The real estate developers had won. And now this is just like, but at least like this might tip the scale so far in their favor that it just like breaks. Yeah, I think so. I mean, how can we like? I can't stay here without a rent freeze right now. My
it's so funny because like think about how fucking insane it is, right? That like the first thing they do is like we are going to lower interest rates. Okay, guys? It's like, yeah, no, definitely. That's what's really leaving me in the most fucking precarious state of like anyone in the developed world. It's that I'm just going to borrow money from the Fed. That's a great idea. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. It's like, it's so frustrating that every sort of conversation about, like, if you turn on CNBC right now or any, like, no one is sort of talking about the workers. No one sort of like they're talking about buying corporate debt and they're talking about bailouts, but they're not talking about like the reality of like 10,000 restaurant workers in New York City suddenly losing their job, or the fact that Massachusetts had 20,000 first-time unemployment calls in one day and then the system crashed, so they don't know how many went after that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the unemployment system has crashed here in New York, too. It's people, like, I have a friend who's just, like, didn't lose their job, and they were like, yeah, this is, like, a really good time to, like, look into, like, buying a house. And I'm just like, excuse, like, really? When I just...
Brother, stop. I think my phone is picking up your thing because I don't think you're coming through my headphones.
So let's go over podcasting 101. Okay.
I'm not listening to this because like you're berating me right now isn't going to even show up on the podcast because anything you say will be heard through my phone too. So if you want to really unload on me right now, just wink at me and I'll turn down the volume, but I won't be able to respond to anything you say. It'll just be you flapping your jaw.
Okay.
But if you want to berate me, I'll just turn down the volume on my computer so that it doesn't pick up on the microphone.
I don't want to berate you. I
And
just want to. I want you to figure out your technical difficulties right now, so we can have a podcast.
Okay, hold on, please. Just hold on. That's all I'm asking for you to hold on. If you can't hold on, I don't like. Stop. Don't say anything because it's gonna come through my microphone. Just hold on. We'll edit this out. It's just gonna be some dead time. Okay.
Hey, this is Sam, the editor, speaking. I almost took that whole part out, but I just decided to leave it in so you could just see what a true maniac I'm dealing with here. Anyway, back to the podcast. So you've forgotten how to podcast, but now it's slowly coming back to you, and we're going to be able to make this work. Yes, I would like to propose that this is episode 1, season 4 of Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz.
I would like to propose that this is a very special, like Christmas episode, but a COVID episode.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
That's fine. I mean, we have a lot of sports to discuss.
We sure do.
So much sports. And I can't wait to get into it all.
Which is funny because there's absolutely no sports. So what better time for a sports podcast?
No one. I mean, I don't care about sports anymore, so it's cool. I don't know. Our podcast is gonna be weird, but I do think that we should. I'm gonna look into creating a Patreon page.
Oh God.
Well, we don't have jobs, brother, and so it's okay if people just want to give us like a couple, like every other. This is how people do it. Every other episode is gonna be free, and then the other ones are gonna cost like $2 or something.
Well, what if people don't have any money, like because they don't have any jobs, but want to listen to our podcast? We should have a
$2. $2, and here's what we're gonna do: we're gonna record one episode a week, and two a month are gonna be free, and 2 are not, and we're gonna ask people for $4 a month for 2 special episodes, and we'll keep them short. And then, if like,
I think that like we're relatively reachable on the internet, and if someone is having the same trouble, like, do you think Ariel, your girlfriend who also just lost her job for the foreseeable future, is living under insane New York rent pressure, would be able to like just throw around $4 here and there for some shitty podcast?
I don't think that she's gonna listen to the free ones.
Right. Okay. It's a good point.
I guess if you lost your job, here's what we'll do.
Keep the content free.
What? No. If you lost your job, free. You get it for free. But if you kept your job, you have to pay double. We have to prove that it's gonna be good content worthy of anyone paying anything for. It's been a long time. I think maybe the strategy was to like make people make people want it. Now they're ravenous for it. The 3 people who have reached out to me.
Who? Name 3.
Paul.
Okay. Good judgment, Paul.
I think there's a couple other people too.
Would you like me to name all the people who have not reached out to me? The people who I thought were like Boston sports fans, or who I thought were like our friends who have just like completely not noticed that we haven't dropped an episode in 2020?
No, our cousin. Well, actually, I don't know.
I'm just saying, you people out there know who you are, and I know who you are.
Also, yeah, fuck that. I put out music yesterday on SoundCloud, my fucking my quarantine album that I've made in the last week, and I make a little Instagram post on it, and it gets over 100 likes, which is, I'm not gloating, and I'm not. I mean, there's nothing to be super proud of, but I'm not like disappointed. Whatever. The most plays a single song got was 40.
So you're saying
So-
100 people are willing to
I'm saying at least 60 people out there are just scrolling the fucking feed. Oh, he's got a new album out. Like, keep scrolling, and they don't stop and listen to a fucking song. I'm pouring my heart and soul into this. I don't have a job anymore. My other plan was to have a Patreon and keep releasing songs, but if people aren't even listening, that's not going to work. How am I going to fucking make money? The unemployment system has crashed. I can't get a job at a different bar. All along, this whole thing about working at bars has been like, well, I can always just get another job at a different bar, and now there's no more fucking bars.
All right. I think we should. I think the situation is dire enough that we'll start. Whatever we can do, whatever you want.
Thank you.
Let's talk about sports.
Okay. So since you've last heard from us, we lost two of our three favorite Boston sports athletes. And by lost, I mean, well, actually,
We're not.
one
we
of
stop. Mookie Betts. We need to talk about. We need
Yeah,
to
and
talk
Mookie,
about
like-
the Red Sox greed, but we also just need to stop what we're doing right now and tell everybody that what woke us up was, first of all, being stuck indoors, and second of all, was the departure of Tom Brady.
yes,
The departure, Sam.
Tom Brady's gone. He's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now, and this is like the thing that is such a big news. It's like the biggest news story that's not COVID or election related, basically in the last month. Like, this is what has brought people out of the woodwork to say, like, oh, are you guys going to do another podcast? Tom Brady's gone. But can I just say, like, I'm more upset about Mookie than Tom Brady.
Okay, let me hear the argument for why you're more upset about Tom Brady or Mookie than Tom Brady.
Okay, for those of you who don't really know, Mookie Betts was the best player on the Red Sox, the most charming player on the Red Sox, so charismatic and fun, and also coming into his prime. And the Red Sox traded him to the Dodgers because they didn't want to pay the luxury tax. The owners didn't want to pay the luxury tax. The billionaire owners got really greedy, and this guy was the MVP 2 years ago on our World Series championship team, and he's coming into his prime now, and now he's on the Dodgers. With the Brady thing, it's like no one's gonna remember that Brady played out the last year or two of his career with the Buccaneers, and
Unless
it's not
he
like
wins the Super Bowl.
he's not gonna win the Super Bowl.
What if he does?
Like, we lost at most 2 years of Brady, and we lost potentially like 10 years of Mookie Betts.
I agree with that. It's Mookie Betts
And
is
also,
is a tragedy, and it's I think the Dodgers championships that they win in the next few years could have been ours, and
Yes.
so I do think this is a bigger championship swing. The
Yes.
Mookie Betts move.
Also,
than the
Mookie
Tom
Betts
Brady
is
move.
extremely likable and charming, and neither of those things I would say about Tom Brady.
That's blasphemous. I want you to you need to have you
He
had
got
anything to eat today?
weird. What do you mean? He got super weird. Tom Brady in his mid-40s is a weird fucking dude who believes in weird pseudoscience and is like not very personable. He's not very fun to hang out with. Now,
Tom Brady in his mid 40s is an example of dedication to his or professionalism or something. He is a hyper competitive person who is showing us or revealing to us like the inner workings of greatness.
yeah, and only 2 seasons removed from a Super Bowl, but it's kind of a
That I
bad
went to.
hang. Yeah. Kind of a weird hang though, Tom Brady. Like,
yeah,
Mookie
kind of a weird hang.
Mookie Betts, just like you, if we were hanging out with Mookie Betts, like on a boat, that's how I picture us hanging out with him. I picture us all like kind of leaning back, laughing, cracking jokes, like like looking at each other, smiling. Tom Brady, we're not. I picture like hanging out with him at a mall and like standing in line and just kind of like no one really looking at each other or smiling.
I mean, Tom Brady was the greatest quarterback who's ever lived.
Yeah, yeah. I guess if I'm gonna one thing that I'm this
and
idea
now he's
that
on another team.
People don't want to vote for Bernie Sanders because he seems like he's angry or something or he yells is so fucking upsetting. Like that's who we look for in a president. Like people, there was like a thing in the New York Times daily podcast where it's just like before the Virginia primary was just they dedicated an entire episode to this dude talking about this time that he had a beer with Joe Biden, how fun it was, and how like Biden remembered him. It's just like we're really still doing this like who would you rather have a beer thing with in politics, and I'm guilty of doing that a little bit here because obviously I'd love to have a beer with Mookie Betts and Brady. I'm like that's a little bit weird. Like we could have like a avocado acai bowl, which is basically what I had for breakfast this morning, and but we wouldn't laugh or smile, which I didn't laugh or smile this morning either. I think Ariel was crying a little bit because our life has been upended. We're still healthy. Everything's we still have it so good in comparison. I mean, we probably have the Roni. It's just it's asymptomatic. So
all right, I have not enjoyed you calling it the Roni one time. I would like to just say that you've done it on this podcast so far 3 times, and it hasn't been like an enjoyable experience hearing it on my end a single one of those times. So please try and.
Well, I don't like that you call it the COVID or the COVID.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's keep working on it.
All right, so
I think
Tom Brady.
The thing about Tom Brady going to the Bucks is that this is the end of my sports connection to me as a high schooler, and that is a relief. It's honestly
That's
a relief.
Great point. That's
I feel like
point,
Tom
brother.
Brady kept me and all my friends young in a great way and stunted in a sad way for the last 20 years.
This is the fucking content that people are looking for. I think that's I have not heard this take yet, and I think that's actually smart and devastating.
I am now a 36-year-old man.
And arguable.
And I started, and Tom Brady became like a very big deal to me when I was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been watching him unceasingly ever since.
I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. I mean, I've never thought about this, but you actually, some would say that you have not matured since you were 17.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to actually have a serious conversation here. Watch your mouth and stop interrupting me. So, like, it's like a bizarre thing, right? Like, to have this thing that's not stopped since you were 17. And now it's over. How old were you when Tom Brady?
I mean, if you were 17, I was 13. So, but is that exactly right? I think it's not. Our first Super Bowl was 2001, and I was in 8th grade. So, yeah, no, that's right. I was 13.
Yeah, but you were actually 12 because the Super Bowl is in February and you were born in May. What up? Tell me I'm wrong.
I think the Super Bowl was when I was in 8th grade, in February of 8th grade. And I think in 8th grade I turned 14. So that means I was 13 when the Super Bowl happened.
I don't care. But, and now you're a man.
Some would say.
And I think I'm done with football.
It's fascinating. So are you
now
saying...
we can be done. Now we can be done. We have watched the greatest quarterback on the greatest team, the most successful team in the history of the game of football. It will never happen again in our lifetimes, and it has never happened in anyone else's lifetime. So
No.
we
And it
can,
wasn't supposed to last this
retire
long, like-
from watching football
It's really
knowing
interesting.
that it's never going to get better than this.
That's true. It'll never get better than that. You're totally right. And also,
so
like,
let's
it wasn't
stop.
supposed to go on that long. Like, that's the thing is, I feel like in a little bit like we're like a 14-year-old that's just now like weaning off of our mother's breast,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and we're just like, and
It
we're
went on
like
too long.
basically like sad about it, but we're also like, we know that we had no business doing that, like breastfeeding still, and so we're kind of relieved. And I think that's
I feel a sense of relief, brother. I feel
that's what I'm
sense that,
sensing
like,
from you. Yeah.
like we can now, when we first started this this podcast, and we were like really trying to earnestly contextualize the leftist struggle with enjoying watching pro football, but knowing how structurally fucked up it is.
Yes, that's a great summary of the goal of the podcast.
Well, let's revisit that, right? Because I would also like to bring up this thing about being a Boston sports fan who during the 20-year run of the Patriots, the Red Sox were the most successful Major League Baseball team. The Celtics are historically the most successful NBA team.
And they had
have returned to relevancy, won a championship in the last 12 years. And also
are amazing right now.
Are amazing right now and have a bright future. The Bruins have been inarguably the most successful team in the last decade in the NHL. It's been if they made the Stanley Cup this year, no other team would have made the Stanley Cup four times. And it really seemed like this was our year because we were far and away the best team. But like all this is to say is like it's been a ridiculously enjoyable time to be a Boston sports fan. And one of the things that's been so enjoyable about it is like saying things like the things I just said. Like my hockey team has had a better decade than yours. Or just like seeing someone wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey and like having some Boston Bruins paraphernalia on and just being able to like make eye contact with them and laugh at them and have them not be able to say anything is really great. It's like a fun thing to like do as a Bostonian if you're wearing Bruin stuff. Insufferability. And you know what, brother? As Patriots fans, we have had insufferability in spades. Like people have written extensively about this, I feel like, right? Like Patriots fans are insufferable. They've like made up lies to make us feel bad about liking our team.
Like that, you think like Spygate, Deflategate, etc. Was that? Or
no, I think like the idea that Tom Brady like supported Donald Trump was a lie.
Uh-huh. Now that he's not on our team, should we reevaluate that?
No.
Did he support Donald Trump? No, I don't think he did either.
But people wanted to think so because they wanted to hate him because we were so insufferably good. And now, everybody, how do we pivot? That's the question, right? As Patriots fans, as Boston sports fans, we can still be insufferable about football in the post-Tom Brady era. You know why? Because our new favorite quarterback is Colin Kaepernick, and the NFL is racist, and anyone who thinks so or takes joy from it is kind of an asshole. What do you think? The new policy as Patriots fans should just be that nobody gets to enjoy pro football because it promotes domestic violence. All the owners are complete assholes and they're billionaires and they're ruining America. And like, why should we support a sport like this? It's disgusting, right? Like, sure, I enjoyed the 20 years when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were the greatest, had the greatest run of success that anyone has ever had or will have in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the same things that we've been saying all along as Patriots fans. It was just like we were attempting to sit with the hypocrisy of it.
And now we don't have to.
Sort of
and we
like,
can still be insufferable.
Now we don't have to.
we have like our guy is better than everyone else's favorite guy, and we get to be holier than thou now, which is insufferable, which is right up our alley. And I think that this is like an opportunity, because maybe this is what will radicalize the purple-faced Bostonians, the real massholes, the Charlie Baker Republicans. Like, if they get to be like elitist lefty assholes about football and not watch it anymore because Tom Brady's gone, they can still enjoy the same superiority that they've had for the last 20 years. They don't have to grow up. I don't know.
Right. One thing that we definitely are not going to do is we're definitely not going to like root for a shitty team and kind of go through that whole experience, which we've done already. We've experienced that in our lives. We're definitely not going back there. Like, I think this is my policy. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna keep it a very long arm's length distance away, but still kind of paying attention this next season to see like if Belichick is gonna make a run or something. I'll kind of like check in and out. But if they suck, I will not consume any football at
I'll
all.
be in London, and like the idea of waking up to see someone that isn't Tom Brady, it's like I'm free. A burden's off my shoulders. And also, like, like Bill Belichick's really good at what he does, but football's kind of fucked up. I don't know. You should think about it.
Football's extremely fucked up. I mean, the problem for our podcast is, especially if we're trying to convince people to join our become patrons, is that the whole point of the podcast was us like being fans of sports, but also not, willing to look at the kind of darker, more sinister sides of it, and then try and reconcile
what if we were to call up
now
our
we're just going to be like
fans of the sports team, and as Boston sports fans take all the fun out of it for them? Would that be like that doesn't sound like a good thing. Never mind. I withdraw that. What if we made, like, I don't know, in the face of coronavirus, I don't feel like I was gonna say we should do a political podcast. We should just talk about the Democratic primary and how we should all become yellow vests because that's the only way they're ever going to pay attention to us. But no, I don't really feel like I care about I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the thing, right? Like the coronavirus
has really taken the wind out of a lot of sails.
Right, like even I don't even like care that much that Bernie seems to be losing now. If Brady, that's like the thing is that this news about Brady leaving, it hit me like a little fly or something. It didn't even reach me. I was just like, oh, I once was a person who would have been affected.
Right, that's
by
not
this
what's going to be the fucking
strange.
That's not what's going to be the special section in the Globe tomorrow.
Right,
and that's.
And like likewise, I almost feel the same way about Bernie Sanders too. I'm just like, oh, right. I used to care a lot about this,
but brother, this is I think like I'm not saying like we should just like glumly sit out the general election. I'm saying that the progressives in this country have absolutely no power. Like they didn't listen to us last time and put forward a piece of shit centrist, and they didn't like.
I mean, and she's 10 times the candidate.
And she's 10 times the candidate of the piece of shit centrist they're putting forward this time, who has visible Alzheimer's on stage meltdowns. It's not. It's like the only way they're gonna respect us is if we organize ourselves, like do an organized walkout and be like, you're not listening to us, so fuck you. You're going to lose again, and we're going into the streets and shutting everything down because fuck you. And like the courts don't matter if we're all going to die in climate change. So spare me your stupid, like, we'll pack the courts. Fuck you.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, that argument would have made sense. I mean, I still probably would have been wrong, but it would have at least made more sense a couple weeks ago. But now we actually know that it's not going to be like a switch. It's not going to all end at once. It's going to be slowly. And Trump's incompetence is actually going to cost millions of lives this time around for
1
the
million.
coronavirus. And like Biden is just as incompetent as Trump, but at least like Trump has delusions of grandeur.
You know
He
what,
thinks
brother?
that he's
Let
a
me
genius,
just cut you
and
off right
he's
there.
like,
Let me just cut you off right there. Trump's gonna kill 1 million people right now. That's what the projection says, right? Like 1 million
Okay.
dead Americans from coronavirus.
Okay.
First of all, I think it remains to be seen whether that's enough to like swing the election against Trump. Like,
no, he's gonna lose. Come on.
but I just want you to know that like I was thinking about the last time there was like 1 million dead anything that I've heard. Like 1 million dead. When was the last time I heard that? And like what jumps out in my mind?
Wasn't there 1 million dead
1
Iraqis
million dead
during the
Iraqis.
Iraq
I
War?
love you, brother. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You have such a beautiful heart, and you're wise, and you're like you read my mind. So guess what I did? I Googled the Iraqi population. 37 million.
Mm-hmm.
37 million.
Okay.
So if there's 1 million dead Iraqis, that's like 2.5% of the population. And you know what it would be if 2.5% of Americans died?
Like almost 2 million, but a little bit less, right? I don't know. There's 350 million
330.
Americans.
8 million people.
Oh, okay.
8 million
yeah.
people.
Wow.
Can you imagine? That's real. That's devastation.
I mean, what the fuck is the difference between 1 million and 8 million? It's abstract to me.
Ask a
I know
fucking
it's
Iraqi.
Not, but ask an Iraqi what the difference between 1 million dead and 8 million dead is. I mean, we're just talking about atrocities on a very, very large scale.
I'm just saying,
here.
people, keep in perspective. Like 1 million dead Americans is so insane. It's so fucking scary, especially when you think about who they are and like our own parents, right? Like, I don't know, but it's like, it's not 8 million. It's not as bad as the Iraq War.
When's the last time you heard someone say 8 million dead blank?
No, I'm just saying.
Just
that's
kidding.
like proportionately, right? The Iraq War is way worse than coronavirus.
I'm not exactly
everybody. That's a hot take. You're welcome. That is a Patron-worthy fucking hot take. Give me $1.
Ugh.
Yeah, you're right. It is a bad idea to ask for money for this. I agree with you. What?
Well, just try and stay with me here. You have gone off the rails, and what the people are going to be paying dollars for is not your fucking nonsensical ranting. It's me, the voice of reason, attempting this impossible task of trying to keep you on point, in which the only potential victory is a totally Pyrrhic one.
But brother, there's no sports happening. So
excuse me, I want to talk about the Celtics. We're in the course of having like one of the most fun seasons in memory. Jason Tatum had made the leap
before our
from being,
eyes, brother.
I mean, he was
that's like
in
another
contention, like,
loss.
the whole
that's
thing
another
with
loss, like Mookie Betts.
Oh, we haven't really. We still have to go. I feel like we did not fully cover.
You're right.
Mookie
We
Betts
need to
yet
like
either,
the
and
Red Sox
greed of John Henry,
usury and avarice
but
has
before we
not
do
been
that-
fully. It's like biblical, right? Their crimes are plutocracy.
Okay, before we get there though, I want to say this. The thing about basketball is, if you want to win the championship, this is everyone's kind of common consensus. If you want to win the championship, there's a few exceptions. The Detroit Pistons in 2004 or something, but basically you need to have a top 8 player. You don't need the best player in the league, but you need the best team, and you need within the best team you need a top 8 player. And the problem, the Celtics already were performing so much like so much further than everyone expected them to,
Except us, because we're responsible adults.
We knew that this was going to be a special team, that the team itself was just so good that there was no chance that they would be like a mediocre team. We knew that they had the potential for greatness, but that in order to actually compete for the championship, one of the players would need to jump up into that top 8, and we were just watching it before our eyes, like 15, 30-point games in a row. Jason Tatum, 22 years old, a very young 22. He just turned 22, and he was making the leap, and it was so fucking fun. And then
and now it's been taken from us.
Basketball's gone.
Fuck coronavirus.
And we can't even talk about the Red Sox and baseball. It's forbidden on this podcast. I was already planning on boycotting the Red Sox season. I mean, this is basically it.
I think we should actually pick it. If you think the Boston Globe was like foolish enough to cover Renoir sucks, if we fucking show up at Fenway Park and be like, you sold us out. You sold our best player, you billionaire plutocrat. I mean, the Globe wouldn't cover it because they're owned by the Red Sox.
Yeah.
But the Herald might. Fucking the New York Times might, because they have some integrity and hate the Red Sox.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is.
I'll write a press release. We'll see what I can. I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, see what you can do, I guess. Like, so basically,
because fuck them. But on the other hand, did you hear that what happened to them in the Premiership?
Them being Liverpool, who's the same, owned by John Henry, who's the culprit,
the guy who sold Mookie Betts so he could have more money to himself.
Fucking asshole. What's the point of like, this is why you own a team, is to get a guy like Mookie Betts. You don't, and then it's the biggest market in baseball, like relative to the population.
It would have been so helpful to have such a beautiful, great, like big-hearted, black, brilliant center fielder play for us for like the next decade, and he's coming into his
left fielder.
But I think they would have moved Jackie out of there. Come on, he's got the he's a fucking.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's an abstract point that I'm not even willing to engage, because
baseball's fucking dead to me.
Fenway Park it's dead to me. It's like, what, you want me to pay the most expensive tickets in the entire baseball, like, for them, and get like a $20 soda, but you're not gonna you're just gonna, like, so you can keep an extra horror.
Brother, first of all, you don't drink soda.
I might have a soda if I was eating a Fenway Frank.
When was the last time you had a soda?
I like a soda every once in a while. If I have like a burger or a hot dog.
Oh right, that's like weirdly one of your like go-to treats.
What?
Like, it's after a cookie, you kind of like soda.
That's not true.
Like, it's like,
no.
What? All right, rank your like dessert items.
Well, I would never have a soda as part of dessert. There's specific circumstances in which I would eat a soda. It has to be daylight, or at least only like very recently nighttime. And probably there's like, if I have a burger or a burrito or a hot dog, I would eat it. I would drink a Coca-Cola with that. It's a nice Coca-Cola. And also, the relationship I have with Coca-Cola is one that I aspire to have with lots of things. Like, I aspire,
like booze.
Well, not booze, but like cigarettes, for instance. I haven't smoked cigarettes since I've been quarantined, because I was remaking habits, and so I knew I could kind of, like, basically I had to start from scratch of how I was going to spend my day, and I knew if I just didn't smoke, that was like a chance. But I don't know. I mean, but the point is that what I want to have is, I want to smoke a cigarette every once in a while without even thinking about it. And I want to go weeks without having one and it not even cross my mind. But there are certain circumstances where, oh, I would love a Coca-Cola right now. You know what? I'm going to have one. And I drink it when I have that Coca-Cola. It tastes so delicious. I love it. And then it's done. And I don't think about Coca-Colas for days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, probably. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Me either.
John Henry. I want to talk about John Henry, that motherfucking greedy bastard. That's his name? John Henry?
Yeah.
John Henry is also the name of the American folklore.
Yeah. Cultural appropriating, billionaire, greedy, cocksucking, like motherfucking shit-eating bastard, John Henry, stole the name of an American folk hero.
Who was like what did he do? He like built the railroads?
He took on I think it's an American tragedy about the disposability of the black worker who's treated just like a machine.
He was like racing like the steam engine.
He takes
dies.
on the steam shovel.
Right?
He
Oh my
dies.
God.
There's a Paul Robeson song.
Oh yeah. It's just about like exploiting like black bodies and making them completely dispensable because you're an owner, a billionaire owner, which is exactly the mindset of all sports owners. I can't believe that his fucking name is John Henry. Ugh.
I know.
I'm fucked.
He owns the globe.
That's fucked up. Oh, and Liverpool too. And so Liverpool was about to win, and then the soccer got canceled.
Yeah. Their championship has been canceled. So rejoice.
I
bet he gets a bailout though.
Oh yeah, he's definitely, dude. This is the thing. I saw this on the internet too. Like, you know, the guy that was hoarding the fucking soap. That fucking guy in the New York Times, and then everyone like they like found out where he was hoarding all the Purell, and they showed up, and he just like gave it up, and then donated all the Purell. You know this? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes,
Okay.
brother.
It's not that far of a leap to go from there to like, we're all out of jobs, all the workers, and we're going to watch one by one as John Henrys of the world get bailed out, as Boeing gets bailed out, as the Wall Street, the fucking, all these giant titans of industry are going to get bailed out one by one, and it's very little of it is going to reach us, and it's not that fucking hard for people. Everyone understands this fucker was hoarding Purell and trying to sell it for a ton of money, and people needed that. And it's just sitting there.
You know, John Henry's hoarding money.
Exactly. John Henry is hoarding money.
Henry is
and I know
hoarding
where
money.
he is.
Yeah.
He's like...
He's in a boat in Boston Harbor. I'm going to sink his battleship.
You just go there and get the money. Like the same way you just go to the fucking guy's house and you get the Purell.
I think we should sink his battleship.
It's not that... People don't need to have this giant leap to get there. People are ready for that. They're going to watch all these... And I mean, and this is now... I mean, it hasn't even been going on for a week yet. Like it's gonna, people are gonna get there, man. They're really gonna get there. This is gonna, Bernie Sanders. What do we do? He shouldn't drop out because fucking Biden could get, he could get the fucking coronavirus, or his Alzheimer's could just like keep getting bad. And if they like suspend a couple elections,
or people could be like, holy shit, why don't we trust the guy who has prioritized healthcare? Like our doctors are pleading for masks. Do you think? I wonder if Bernie Sanders had won the election, if they would have had them by now. You know, like I just think there's still. Yeah. The pendulum is shifting right now to a place where the argument...
Except it's the fucking same thing. The youth already know this, and the old people are not going to fucking change their mind. They're the fucking hardened in their ways. And the youth were doing all...
We need to get Biden the coronavirus. You already hinted at it. That's it. How do we get Biden the coronavirus?
If Bernie and Biden get it, then does...
Elizabeth Warren.
No, I think it's Tulsi Gabbard. She's the only one left, right?
No, she quit today.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, all right. Well, here's, again, I just want to say, like, the young people who are finally being responsible. I mean, not everyone, but they are starting to be responsible, trying to flatten the curve and are not fucking going out in public. They're not going to be the ones showing up to vote. The old fucking boomers who already support Biden and don't fucking give a fuck are. And it's same shit where, again, we're quarantining in order to protect the old people who would not do the same thing.
We're not door knocking.
Right, exactly. We're not door knocking. And the old people, they wouldn't do the same thing for us. And you know how I know that? Because they're not. It's climate change.
They never do these things for us. It's the fucking
same shit. As we've already covered, it's just like they're fucking...
Absolutely right,
I'm
brother.
supposed to quarantine myself, and I could just get the fucking coronavirus, and it would be really, really bad, but I would probably be fine.
And just be a
then
boomer
I could just
remover.
like go back to normal. But I'm not doing that. I'm staying in my fucking house so they don't get sick, and I'm willing to dramatically change my life so they won't
lose your job.
Yeah, so they won't get sick. And are they dramatically changing their lives so my fucking kids won't get sick? No, they're not. They don't give a shit because they're not going to be there.
You're absolutely right, and it's fucked
And
up.
now they're gonna fucking.
And why do we have these conversations with each other? Like people are just like I don't know. Like it's like the AARP website is like teaches you about being a vector for disease, but it doesn't teach you how like wealth inequality is a vector for climate change. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And what are the fucking like 50 and 60-year-old like true blue Democrats, the people that really care about being Democrats, like what are they fucking thinking when they're just like oh, all of the people who are under 50 are voting for Bernie Sanders and all of the people that are over 50 are voting for Biden. What should we do? Like, what is the right? It's just like
it's so
it's
arrogant.
so short-sighted
like,
and arrogant.
it's
Are you
so
fucking
unfair.
kidding me? Put your ego aside for a second and just think about that. Don't even think about any policies.
If people 20 years younger than me kept telling me the same thing unanimously, and like I had glory, like not just between like 20 and 40 years younger than me were unanimous in saying something to me, and I had totally fucked up the world and taken it to an incredibly distressing place. Imagine how fucked up in the head it is to be like, actually, I think I know better than you, even though I feel terrible about where things are, and I have been in charge of the economy for the last 30 years.
Yeah, but they've been in charge of the economy and it's kind of worked out for them. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I guess other people are having a hard time, but I don't know. It's pretty like, where are mom and dad quarantined right now?
Cape Cod.
Yeah, in their second home in Cape Cod. I mean, whatever. It's not like it's a mansion or anything, and they've had it as long as I've been born, but still.
And they have a bidet, so they're not hoarding toilet paper. But also, like, did I already say that thing about the grocery store?
What?
How my friends in Cape Cod are doing their grocery shopping?
Told me that, yeah.
Okay.
That's nice that you did that.
It's a good strategy.
Have
you talked to them today?
Yes.
It's good that they're taking it seriously finally.
I mean,
I wish they would take climate change more seriously and vote for Bernie fucking Sanders.
They're really like, that's the other thing is they're just at this point they are completely pathologically obsessed with like uniting the party to beat Trump. And I'm just like, I asked them straight up, let me ask you a question. Who are you more worried about? What scenario are you more worried about? Bernie wins the nomination and Biden supporters coming over to support Bernie, or are you more worried about Biden winning the nomination and Bernie supporters not supporting Biden? And they go, "Oh, we're much more. We're worried about Bernie Sanders supporters supporting Biden. Like we don't think they're going to do that." And I'm like, "And you definitely think that Biden supporters would support Bernie if he won?" And they're like, "Yeah, I think we would. I think we know like we have to beat Trump." And I'm just like, okay, so how is this any fucking question at all? If the thing that you really care about the most is beating Trump, that's your number one thing. Why are you fucking not supporting Bernie Sanders fully then? Because it's just like, and they're not alone in this. Again, it doesn't make any fucking sense. If everyone is really
you're saying they're playing bad game theory?
Yes, it's so stupid. You're worried that Bernie supporters aren't going to support Biden, and you take it for granted that Biden supporters will support Bernie, and yet you're not supporting Bernie. And
it's just like.
And they'll fucking tell you that they are, but sorry, support like they didn't vote for Bernie. They voted for Warren when she kneecapped him. And they're not fucking donating him. They're not telling their fucking friends to fucking vote for him. They're just telling they're at this point they support Bernie, but they think he should drop out. That's actually probably if you called them up and asked them where they were at, that's what they would say. We support Bernie.
I would never do that.
They would be like, we support Bernie Sanders, but we think he should drop out because we need to beat Trump.
I think we need to become yellow vesters and not vote and say fuck you, or at least vote absentee and on election day do yellow vest protests.
I mean, I don't know. I think that we should probably go and riot at the Democratic National Convention whenever like
in yellow vests.
Yeah, I guess you're really into the yellow vest thing. It doesn't have the same like.
Not yet.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Mom sent me this fucking.
We don't have any. They just won't listen to us.
Mom sent me this article. I'm actually going to send it to you, and this is going to be your homework, and we're going to talk about it on the next episode. But the article is basically by this like New Yorker writer, this older guy, and I think it's an op-ed from the Washington Post, and it said something like, "Are you going to be stupid like I was in 1968, or are you going to vote for Biden?" I think that was like the op-ed, and it's basically like this guy. Instead of voting for Hubert Humphrey in 1968, he like wrote in the name of some comedian, and he was like talking about how like stupid he was back then. And I had to explain to her a little bit more about what her generation did, how they like actually.
Yeah, no, actually, you killed like that was like the option after you killed Bobby Kennedy and you killed Martin Luther King.
They didn't kill those people. The baby boomers didn't do that. That was the fucking silent generation, the people before that. But no, what they did was worse than assassinating single individuals. What they did is collectively as a generation, they gave up the fucking fight within 10 fucking years. Like 1968, we're ready to change the world. We really believe that it's time. Like things are like drop out of society. War is wrong. Everything. And then just like literally within 10 years, they're just like, wait, what were we talking about back? I don't know. Like things aren't that bad though, right? They're okay. Like,
let's vote for Reagan and do some cocaine.
Just like I don't know. Reagan's probably bad, but it's gonna be fine. Like there's gonna be like I don't know. He'll just like topple some leftist governments in Latin America, but we're gonna have these nice houses and
some cocaine.
Yeah. So
yeah, I hate old people.
Like I tried to tell Mom that I didn't have the like.
So send me this article.
I'm
we'll
not gonna be able to look back
time.
50 years from now and like reflect on what I like should have done in the 2020 election because there isn't gonna be a fucking world 50 years to look back on because they fucked us so bad and they weren't willing to. I'll send you the article. I think we should probably call it. I'm really upset now.
No, I don't know. It was a fun podcast. So, like, what are we going to do in the time of no sports and everyone sitting around waiting for content? We're just going to have to hang out with everybody. I think it's fine.
We're going to still be a sports podcast. And luckily for you listeners who don't care about sports, we're probably going to talk less and less about sports. But I can't do this unless it's ostensibly a sports podcast.
Okay, you need to have it be some sort of grounding. We can't explore new themes. Like, what if it was a music podcast?
Oh, have you heard my new songs?
Yeah,
have you heard them all?
I unlike people on Instagram, click on the links.
Have you listened to the entire EP?
Yeah, I sure have. It's brilliant.
Well, we should always at least try and keep up the appearances of
we
sports.
could just like go through the Criterion collection subscription we have. Argue about the movies.
About Criterion movies? Wait, so what's the deal? Are you going back to London tomorrow?
Yeah.
They're saying that it's U.S. plans to tell citizens abroad to come home or stay there. So you're just going to go and stay there.
Yeah.
Well, isn't UK the only country in the fucking world that's not doing the like quarantine thing, and instead they're trying to do like a herd immunity strategy?
No, they've abandoned that. No. They are going to pay. They are going to avoid a rent strike, though.
How?
They're going to pay people's rents.
Oh, they're going to pay people's rent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you thinking about paying rent on April Fool's Day?
I mean,
if you try and pay rent on April Fool's Day, I'm gonna slap you.
No, I mean I'm definitely not gonna do it on April Fool's Day. But I mean, time is ticking for them to figure out what to do. I mean, I could theoretically pay rent one more time, but it's just like that seems stupid, right? To just spend the remaining money that I have on rent without any idea of where my income is going to come from.
There's a global pandemic and they're bailing out rich people and you're thinking about paying rent? Are you kidding me?
Put it like that. I can't pay rent, but I don't want to lose my apartment. What am I going to do?
You're going to organize talk to the rest of the people in your building.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, folks, this is Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, Season 4, Episode 1. Thank you for joining us. Check out our Patreon page at patreon.com, maybe / Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's stupid.
What?
Like, let's do Venmo.
No.
Venmo my brother because he's being evicted.
No, come on. We need Patreon, and then it will make us keep making more episodes and stuff. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. I mean, actually, yeah. Yeah, fuck that. I'm just gonna do it. Fuck you.
Fuck you too.
All right, I love you, brother. Thanks for
Love you
listening,
too. It was really
everybody.
fun.
Great to see you all, to hear from you all. Actually, reach out to us because we're so fucking bored and lonely.